watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. Got a fun show for you today. Want to focus on some of the youth in New Orleans. The Saints obviously have been in the midst of a youth movement, and I want to focus on 5 players who I believe must have big games for Saints vs. Cardinals in Week 1. The game is just a few days away, and I am ready to watch these young guys take the field and make a name for themselves. Just a couple of rules for today's video. We're not talking any quarterbacks. Obviously, Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, doesn't matter who's throwing the football. They need to have big games. Also, we're not going to talk about anybody over the age of 25 years old because I want to have a little bit of fun, talk about some of the younger players, talk about some of the rookies and second-year guys. And just as a reminder, this is not a power rankings video. This is solely listing people who I believe need to have a big season because they are early in their careers or because they have not taken that step. It is still worth mentioning these guys who don't get discussed are important, but there you go. I want to really quickly inform you on the captains for the 2025 season. The New Orleans Saints recently announced this today, so I wanted to just go ahead and highlight Alvin Kamara, Brandon Cooks, Eric McCoy, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Justin Reed, Zach Wood, and Blake Grupe, 2 players that were brought in this offseason, 2 special teams guys. And then, of course, you have Eric McCoy, Alvin Kamara, Demario Davis, and Cam Jordan. No surprises, really, on the captain's list, but obviously there are expectations for the captains. Going to just go ahead and say this. It goes without being said. If you are elected a captain for this team, not only are you expected to be a leader in the locker room, you're also expected to be a leader on the field when it comes to production and doing your job. So, obviously, blanket statement, the captains need to have big years, and they are players that everyone is going to be watching. But I wanted to just get you informed on who the captains were for the season, and we're going to dive on into my 5 players who must shine in Week 1. Really quickly, though, I want to let you guys know we barely won the August sub battle. I'm not kidding you. We won by like 4 or 5 subs. And right now we are in an early deficit in our September sub battle. So hit the sub button and help me beat Falcons today. Saints fans, we are so much rowdier. We are so much more passionate. We're so much crazier. And plus, there's a hell of a lot more of us than those crummy-ass Falcons fans. Subscribe today if you want to join our family here at Saints Now by Chat Sports and if you want to take down Falcons today. Honorable mentions, we're going to give you 3 players, Talese Fuaga, Quincy Riley, Brian Brzee. You could really interchange any of these guys with the list of 5 main players we're discussing. But basically, I wanted to just kind of give each of these players an opportunity to mention, yes, they are young. Yes, there is pressure on these guys. Talese Fuaga moving from left tackle to right tackle. He's back at his natural position. He was really, really good as a rookie. I expect him to do even better, quite frankly, in year 2 and in a more natural position for him where he spent all of his snaps in college at the right tackle position at Oregon State. So really excited for him in year 2. Really expect him to have a big year, and he needs to have a big game if the Saints want to succeed offensively. But defensively, Quincy Riley and Brian Brzee. Obviously, we know Brzee is a really, really good pass rusher, but I want to see him be a complete defensive tackle, dominate on the interior defensive line, and stop the run. And Quincy Riley, he should be heavily rotated into the cornerback room. I expect and hope for him to be a contributor, and I want to see him take the reins in the cornerback room so he can be that guy opposite of Kool-Aid McKinstry that we expect him to take over as this season. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Chris Olave is my first player that I believe must shine in Week 1. Obviously, he is going to be wide receiver 1 for the New Orleans Saints. But there is still reasons for him to thrive because he is going to have a much more increased role, a much more prominent, a much more involved role with Kellen Moore calling the plays rather than Clint Kubiak. And obviously, the Saints did pick up his 5th-year option this offseason. He has not signed a long-term deal, so he's still seeking long-term money, long-term contracts, and in looking for that payday that Garrett Wilson had earlier this summer. Obviously, Chris Olave wants to get somewhere near that. He's going to need to have a good year and really, really productive season if he wants to get in that range. Now, for what it's worth, the beginning of his career was phenomenal, and he is a proven 1,000-yard receiver. However, the concussion history is something worth mentioning. It is concerning because he has missed significant time due to head injuries. And, I will sit here and say this. A concussion is not something you take lightly. Head injuries are not something that you just look over. This is something super serious. We're talking about bigger things than football. Obviously, Chris Olave needs to stay healthy. He wants to be around in New Orleans. He wants to be a Saint long-term, and I do believe he will have a big role in the offense in 2025. Over the course of his career in the first 3 seasons, the tail of the tape has been very, very impressive. That being said, it's just been lack of availability in 2024. 400 yards last season, 32 catches, and only 1 touchdown. Again, he missed so much time due to those concussions. But even in 2023 and 2022, he missed some time due to injury. So with Chris Olave, I would like to see him play an entire season. I'd like to see him be available all year long, and I would like to see him contribute at a high level consistently every single week. Some of that comes down to Kellen Moore scheming up plays for him to make a difference. Some of that comes down to Chris Olave making those plays when given those opportunities. Some of that also comes down to Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough for giving him those opportunities when the play is schemed up for Chris Olave. So not only does it come down to Chris Olave for making plays, it comes down to the quarterback for delivering him the pass and the play caller, Kellen Moore, the head coach, in giving him opportunities and scheduling him opportunities in these matchups. Now, Kool-Aid McKinstry in week 1, I want to see him be the guy that we have been asking him to be. He is a really, really exciting player. I got a lot of interesting information on Kool-Aid McKinstry, plus 3 other players here on today's video, but we would not be able to film today's video if it weren't for our friends over at Chubby Shorts. And let me ask you one question, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some football? And if you're not, Chubby's is ready to help you out with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding the highs and lows of the game from your couch, Chubby's has the officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. For a limited time, use our exclusive code CHATSPORTS for $10 off at chubbyshorts.com. Yes, that does include the NFL collection. All of that information is in the comments and description of this video. With bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams, Chubby's game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos, wave-making swim trunks, and gym-ready mesh shorts. Yeah, you heard that right. Swim trunks with Saints logos on them? You got to go get yourself a pair. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter crash out, Chubby's is the place to get geared up for this season. If you're not a jersey guy, this is an elite alternative. And if you are a jersey fanatic, something tells me you'll love their NFL collection, because when you're invested in the game, your outfits should be too. I absolutely love Chubby's products. I've been rocking their gear since I was in high school. And for what it's worth, it's a dream come true for them to sponsor my YouTube channel now here at 26 years old. I will never stop wearing Chubby's gear. I will send all of my money to Chubby Shorts, and I'm going to use the link chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That way I can get $10 off my first purchase, because quite frankly, no lies told, I haven't used the link yet, so I'm going to go ahead and use mine and make sure that I am ready for the season. Plus, I know it's still hot where you're hanging out. I know you're still going to go hang out by the pool. I know you're still going to do some day drinking. I know you're still going to hit the golf course. Chubby's is the place to get geared up and swagged out for all of those adventures that the weekend has. For a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving listeners of Saints Now by Chat Sports $10 off with the promo code ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com/chatsports. That's $10 off your order with the promo code CHATSPORTS, and that does include the NFL collection. Support the show and tell them we sent you. All of that information is in the comments and description of this video. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubby's. Let's talk Kool-Aid McKinstry, because I do believe that he is set to have a big year. And look, it's no mystery. The New Orleans Saints cornerback room has been a strength of the roster for multiple years in a row. Now that you traded away Marshawn Lattimore last year, you let Paulson Adebo walk in for agency this year, Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's the guy. He came into last year being CB3, CB4. This year, he's CB1. So he needs to prove that he is somebody who can be put on an island. And I think that against the Cardinals, that's a really good opportunity to show what he's capable of doing. And he is a player last year that got thrown right into the fire because of the injuries that settled in. And he got a lot of runs, 680 snaps last season. He was really solid. He had some good moments, but, he really does need to be better and needs to not have those rookie moments. Again, I will give a lot of credit where it's due. He was really, really impressive, but I do want to see him be more consistent. I want to see him be a guy who can be reliable as a CB1 and shut off an entire side of the field. For what it's worth, I want to give him a lot of credit. Quarterbacks only completed 54.8% of their passes when targeting Kool-Aid McKinstry. So I do believe that he is set to have a really, really good year. And good news, Saints fans. He's pretty confident that he will as well. He's shown a lot of improved confidence. He's shown improved leadership skills. He's shown more consistency. And he's even gone as far as to saying that everything about him feels better, not just from being a football player, but from being a human being and being an individual too. He feels faster, feels lighter. He feels just overall better. And so Kool-Aid McKinstry, in my opinion, will have a really, really good season. Week 1 is a great opportunity for him to prove that he feels better and to build that confidence that can carry over and last throughout the entire season. Kelvin Banks Jr., let's just call it what it is. He needs to thrive. I expect Kelvin Banks Jr. to be the left tackle of the future for the New Orleans Saints. He was the 9th overall selection just a couple of months ago in the 2025 NFL Draft. And look, this is a pick that some Saints fans were really, really excited about at the time. Some were really, really annoyed about. For what it's worth, I was sitting here saying, I'm tired of drafting linemen. I want the fun players. I want the sexy picks. I want the guy whose jersey I can buy. But I'll tell you what, Kelvin Banks Jr. has done a phenomenal job this summer by proving the Saints made the right selection with the 9th overall pick. You have a top 10 pick, you got to nail it. And the Saints, in my opinion, 100% did. He is viewed by the clubhouse as the left tackle of the future, the perennial left tackle. You have your left, you have your right tackle. You should be set on the exterior of the offensive line. And he was extremely impressive during the preseason. And for what it's worth, Pro Football Focus graded him the highest graded pass blocking offensive tackle in the preseason as a rookie. Not bad. Now let's take a look at those preseason PFF grades. Granted, it's preseason, so you're not playing against all starters. You're not playing full games. But for what it's worth, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wasn't impressed with Kelvin Banks Jr. 0 sacks, 0 hurries, 0 penalties, 0 quarterback hits allowed. He did not let anyone touch his quarterback. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what's going to lead to success offensively. If Kelvin Banks Jr. can make that run blocking grade a better number, and if he can live up to being the 89.8 pass blocking grade player that we saw throughout the preseason, oh my goodness, we are set up for incredible success offensively. And I'll just go ahead and say this, Kelvin Banks Jr., I think, is going to be an X factor for the New Orleans Saints, as well as the entire offensive line. But Kelvin Banks Jr. specifically, he was so damn reliable for the Texas Longhorns. He was so good. I promise you, Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian, they were wishing they had Kelvin Banks Jr. protecting Arch Manning against the Ohio State Buckeyes this past week. I promise you that. His presence was missed. He has been praised heavily. Even some NFC scouts have called him the next Laramie Tunsil. He is going to be a stud. He is going to be great. And if he can have a really, really strong week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, I think that this guy is set up for long-term success. Not just, even if he does struggle, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think that this is one of those players that really, really will be a difference maker for the foreseeable future. And I'm not going to go ahead and be too disrespectful with the Arizona Cardinals, but just thinking off the top of my head, nothing really comes to mind in terms of who's going to go ahead and get to the quarterback. No crazy pass rushers really come to mind. I think this is going to be a good litmus test, not just for Kelvin Banks, but for Tally Sefuaga as well, as we mentioned earlier in the video. I want to ask you a question. Who you got this week? Saints versus Cardinals. Type S for Saints. Type C for Cardinals. I want you to let me know who you think is going to win this matchup this week. I'm going to take the Saints to win. They win a lot of those week 1 games. Pretty long streak right now. I'm going to keep the Saints winning and keep them on that streak alive. Now let's go to Danny Stutsman, the player I have to say I am most excited to watch this year. And look, I want you to just go ahead and understand, I have been a big Danny Stutsman fan from the minute that 112th overall selection and that card was put in. I said it from the jump. That was a massive steal. The fact that you got this player at 112th overall in the 4th round, ridiculous. He is going to be a difference maker. And I think that you will be able to see Danny Stutsman get heavily rotated in, not just on defense, but on special teams as well. Throughout the summer and throughout the preseason, this guy was a difference maker. Every single snap he was on the field, he was near the football, he was making the plays. He has a nose for the football. He loves to hit. He loves the game, and he is a really, really exciting football player. Already become a fan favorite among the Who Dat Nation. I do think you should regularly see Danny Stutsman getting in on the action. You should hear number 47 and his name get called a lot. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this is the player I'm most excited to watch. I don't care if it's a rookie. I don't care if it's offense. I don't care if it's defense. I don't care if it's a vet. I don't care if it's quarterback. Doesn't matter. Danny Stutsman, number 47, is the guy I'm most excited to watch this season. And I'm most excited to watch for week 1 because, quite frankly, there are a lot of really exciting young talent and there is a lot of really intriguing prospects on this roster. But Danny Stutsman is a player who, deep down to my core, I believe can be a cornerstone of this defense for the foreseeable future. You have the opportunity to keep a really exciting guy around forever because you drafted him. Keep him in New Orleans, make him happy, make sure he's a contributor. And I'll be honest, I expect him to just let the tape talk for itself. I expect him to just go out there and make plays. I don't think he's going to have many struggles. Sure, there may be good moments. Sure, there may be bad moments. But I'm telling you right now, Danny Stutsman is a player I'm most excited to watch for a lot of different reasons. And I'm telling you, if week 1 this guy makes any crazy plays, any crazy highlights, I might need a change of pants. Just going to go ahead and say that out there. Danny Stutsman, Steve Stutsman, I know you're watching the show. Really appreciate you guys for supporting us. And I'm really, really excited to watch you this season, Danny. Go frickin' get him. All righty, Kendre Miller is going to be our 5th and final player we talk about here on this video. I am really excited to see him in Kellen Moore's offense because although the stats in the preseason won't jump off the screen, the tape and the highlights and the eye test, in my opinion, was much more impressive than what the numbers show. He does also have a clean slate going into this season as the running back 2. The New Orleans Saints depth chart lists him as RB2 behind Alvin Kamara. And for what it's worth, when Dennis Allen drafted him, there was trouble in paradise. It seemed like every single week. And Dennis Allen was not a fan of whatever was going on with Kendre Miller. And there was trouble. There was problems in the clubhouse. And Kendre Miller had a little bit of a weird thing going on. But now he says that he feels normal. This is the most healthy he's been since he's been in the NFL. He finally enters a season healthy and ready to go. And, you know, when you talk about Kendre Miller, you always have to add he's been really fun. He's been really exciting. He's been good, but he's been unavailable. And that's been the big thing that you have to add when you have this conversation, because the best ability is availability. He's only played in 14 out of 34 possible games, and whether it's due to injury, whether it's due to lack of preparation, who knows? But it's a player that needs to be on the field more often, and I do think that he will be on the field more often. He's healthy. He's ready to roll, and in 2024, he was somewhat productive. Also in 2023, he put up some decent numbers, but again, it's not anything that jumps off the screen because you didn't get to see it all the time. He's a player who I do believe is right there. He's just right on the cusp of just breaking away big runs pretty much any time he touches the football. So with Kendre Miller, I want to see him get active and get heavily involved and take some of those hits away from Alvin Kamara. And I do want to see him break away for a 20, 30-plus yard run. That if we can get at least a 20-yard run and a touchdown from Kendre Miller, I think that you can look at week 1 as a win for him. And I think that you can look at his outlook going in the right direction and in a positive movement for this football season. Now, who's a player you are most excited to watch this year? I want to hear from you in the comment section. I gave you my 5 players who I am most excited to watch and I think need to shine in week 1. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Chris Olave, Kelvin Banks Jr., Danny Stutsman, Kendre Miller, and now it's time for you to give me one. Appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us in today's video. We had some other content go out earlier this morning, so I highly encourage you to check it out on the channel. It will be recommended here in just a moment. But my name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. That right there is my guy, Loco Lopez. Everyone be sure to show him some love as well. He's been crushing it. And we will be live on game day, live tomorrow, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Time. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.